He studied mime and decided to combine this with music to create a new and spectacular rock theatre.
To my mind, shut up. To my mind, Sandy Bull was a genius. Much overlooked in his time, much overlooked today. Many of the themes that he was exploring, many of these sort of musical territories that he visited, now considered one has to remember is that when Sandy Bull committed to tape his Fantasia's suite, I mean this was a full 18 months before Ravi Shankar even placed his bare foot upon English or indeed American Western soil. Raga per se was an unexplored territory at the time, and benefit of hindsight, one could say, Sandy Bull was merely an antenna, an early receiver of what was in the air at the time. I don't know, but one might equally argue that without Bull's Vanguard releases, Darby's work would have warmed a much colder air. He would have found himself sleeping in a much colder bed. Which is to say that the groundwork had been laid out for him by the Sandy Bulls. The Sandy Bulls of this world.
Infinitesimal beauty of your kind.
I was alone on one of my sojourns in the damp when I came across a moon man, an alien from outer space. I was most surprised to see his frail body there, draped over the chicanery and doo-wots that scatter the dump, you know. I found his spacecraft not far from it. It was a classic saucer-like design with a sort of flip-top lid, which had obviously been ejected from, presumably after a harsh landing. It was very small. The space saucer was very small, and the moon man himself, or Marsman, was very small himself, about the size of an action figure, like an Action Man, G.I. Joe, or Darth Vader. but more frail than any of those figurines. Very weak of limb, large of head, which you'd imagine with a more advanced, a species of a more advanced evolutionary stage. But I was very struck with the obvious fragility of his physique. It is. Hang on, just turn that down. Bloody noise. Soul music, I always think is this sort of peculiar wrinkle that one who would require the functions of soul music, one that would need to hear something soulful, somebody that felt a lack of soul in their lives, wouldn't necessarily be thrilled to hear another experiencing it, and that's my sentiment tonight. Yes, for Van Morrison, expressing himself. I just, good on you, mates. I'm struggling here. I don't need to hear you sort of succeeding where I fail, sort of thing. It tends to leave one hollow when one senses that one's expectation is to be fulfilled, and I think that's what hurts. But I don't know how soon after the failure of my marriage it was that, going through the rubble of the dump, I stumbled upon a moon man, a man from the moon or from Mars. But what remained with me from that experience was this tremendous feeling of pointlessness. It's a creature that had travelled across through the emptinesses of space and taken on the challenges of was presumably some of the greatest challenges of his species, just to be here. And sure enough, this saucer-like craft crash lands in the rubble, and his body is strewn and smattered unapologetically and rather cruelly across the sort of debris of human debris of insolicitude, strewn across the debris of human insolicitude, spread like peanut batter almost, And I looked into the sort of blank globe of his eye, and while on the face of things that eye, rather like a fish's, would seem to project an emptiness or nothingness, a blankness. It seemed also to suggest to me great sadness, and it was not the last time that I visited the dump.
Infinitesimal beauty of your kind.